Hello, well, today is Cirno Day and I'm doing a video. Yay. But first a short disclaimer. Yes, I normally make videos in German, so why make one in English? Well, the reason is that I already made a challenge video once and I wanted this video to have something unique about it. Yeah, but this is the actual reason. I won't just start pumping out English videos from now on. At most I will make some more challenges in English, but that is something I cannot say will really happen. God, I really need to learn how to write intro skits. This is terrible, what the heck? Well, with that out of the way, what am I actually doing? I'm going to try to beat Touhou Puppet Dance Performance Shard of Dreams, not the extended version, the regular version, with a team made up out of the team 9 members. So, for those that don't know, Touhou Puppet Dance Performance Shard of Dreams is a Touhou and Pokemon fan game with similar gameplay, mechanics and all to Pokemon. And Team 9 comes out of the Touhou fandom and describes a group that is made up out of the Touhou characters Cirno, Rumia, Mistia, Wriggle and often Daiosei. Meaning I'm trying to beat the game with only those puppets, or the Pokemon stand-in of the game, in my team. And just to make sure this is not a Nuzlocke, mainly because I would not get far as this game has its own type matchups. And I still don't know them, I legit had to look them up on the wiki while I was doing this, so now let's just look at what my team will be made out of. I'm just going to show you all of the base stats of the normal forms. Don't worry if you don't understand the stats, they're basically the same as they are in Pokemon. Yeah, they are not really great. That is the reason I will change them from their normal style as soon as I can. Basically, I'm going to evolve them. Cirno and Wriggle can become speedy mixed attackers, but Cirno is more weighted towards focus attack, so I will dump the stand-in for EVs into focus attack and speed, while giving Wriggle spread attack and speed. Mistia can become a strong spread attacker, while Rumia and Daiosei are going to be more defensive. Rumia does have a good focus attack though, so she can still fight. Daiosei on the other hand is going to be more of a supporter. I hope that this plan will work out. Just to start out with this all, I also wrote the script while I was going through with the challenge. Mainly because my memory is terrible and I would completely forget anything that happened like a day later or something. I will also not use healing items in battle, but held items are allowed. I also am going to interject at some point when I realize something from the future, so look forward to future me telling you why past me was a complete idiot. But yeah, let's see how this will all play out. So after picking my character, talking with every NPC in front of the shrine where the game starts, and choosing Cirno as my starter, quote unquote, I can go north. Side note, you can choose any puppet to be your starter in this game. Following a small puppet, I find some grass and the Cirno puppet comes closer. The character Marissa comes to help me fight it. After fighting it, the puppet decides to join me and I name it Candace. Yeah, there is going to be a naming theme in this one. Following that, Marissa introduces me to Sanai and Remo and then she wants to battle. Yeah, I win this one easily. So here are the stats of Candace. Seems like she has increased focus defense. Oh, and since she's my starter, she has perfect IVs. Sanai then gives me some stealing threats, basically Pokeballs, and I can proceed towards Route 1. On Route 1, I fight the Daiosei, catch her, and name her Gardenia. I will put all of her EVs into focus defense and HP. After grinding a bit and arriving at the human village, I have to fight the actual Team 9. And honestly, the first 4 fights are really nothing special. Cirno, Daiosei, Wriggle and Mistia are not too bad, except some evasion stuff going on. Rumia on the other hand can be a problem, since she has 5 puppets, but Gardenia has the attack Parasite. And like Absorb in Pokemon, this attack heals 50% of the damage inflicted on the opponent. Only Rumia's own Daiosei was able to then beat Gardenia, but Candace finished the battle, letting me win first try. With that, I am now able to proceed onto Route 3. At this time I have to acquire an item from Miko. She lives in the Divine Mausoleum, past the Murin Temple, past Route 3. But on Route 3 I can capture Rigel in a static encounter. I capture her and name her Elisa. That will make more sense once she switches style. Anyway, after passing the Murin Temple, I have to fight 4 characters in order to reach Miko. Yoshika and Sega are here the biggest worry for me, since my entire team is weak to poison, and both of them use puppets with poison moves. Yoshika is a close battle, but Sega went somewhat fine. Now I just have to beat Tochiko and Futo to reach Miko. Tochiko was a bit more annoying, but Futo went fine. So, after healing up and giving Candace max IVs in the stats I think will help her the most, I go and fight Miko. Honestly, this fight went pretty well. She starts off with a Toshiko that basically uses charge, and then immediately switches into her Futo. And this Futo sets up stereo terrain. This terrain makes it so that attacks that affect the target will do neutral damage, no matter what. So Candace can easily crit the Futo. Yeah, that was neat, I guess, but okay. Miko then sends in her own Miko, and Candace immediately inflicts Miko with stop, allowing me to freely attack the Miko for like 3 turns. After that the Miko is able to take out Candace, but Gardenia is able to finish the battle. So I get what I want from Miko and make my way back to the human village. Arriving there allows me access to Route 5. However, pretty much as soon as I enter it, Remo challenges me to a battle. And this battle was actually close. Candace managed to stop her Aya for 1 round and beat the Aya after getting hit after the Aya immediately recovered from the stop condition. Man, I said Aya a lot in that one sentence. Then Remo sent out her... Remo. This sounds weird honestly, but yeah, okay. That Remo hits pretty hard. I swapped around just trying to do damage, but after a few turns I only had Candace left. And Candace does beat the Remo, and Remo's last puppet is a Suica, which Candace immediately stops and beats the following turn. Yeah, the stop condition was very important in that fight. Thank God this is not a Nuzlocke, as I only have 2 more potential team members. Speaking of those, they can both be found in Route 5, so I go and catch a Rumea, which I name Karen, and then, after some walking through the grass, I catch Mystia and name her Skylar. And with that, my team is full for the challenge. So what I need to do now is a bit boring, so I will make this short. Go to the end of Route 5, get a quest, go through the Forest of Magic, receive a new destination I have to go to, grab the bike on Route 5 and head back to the human village. Getting back there allows me now access to Route 4. And going through this route I arrive at the Bamboo Forest of the Lost, as now my goal is to get a woodcutting tool from Ayante so I can reach the Scarlet Devil Mansion. And after some running around in the Bamboo Forest I finally arrive at Ayante, where I have to help them with the problem going on. And helping them with the problem means helping Eren stop the fight between Kaguya and Moko by fighting Moko. And I guess that works somehow, but yeah, I will make this short. Moko absolutely destroyed my team, so I have to grind a bit. Luckily, I don't have to grind every member on the team individually, which saves me a lot of time. So, after a bit of grinding, I tried the fight again, and now the main problem with this battle is the kind Moko uses. I have nothing to combat it, and Moko, Sumireko and Moko can be taken down with poison for Sumireko and water for Moko without much trouble, but the cane nearly needs my entire team to beat it. But I managed to win and am able to continue. However, not even 2 steps out of the Bamboo Forest, Marissa wants to battle me, and compared to Moko, she is nothing special. If it weren't for a misclick, the battle would have been a lot smoother, but even that really didn't make the fight that much more difficult. So now I can finally go towards the Scarlet Devil Mansion after a short trip around the Misty Lake. And on the way there, Candace reached level 30 and I changed her style. I chose the power style. It gives her high speed and focus attack, but she has like no defense. However, she gets basically speed boost as an ability, which can come in handy. Plus, thanks to the water-nature type combination, Candace now only has one weakness. Yeah, it's a 4 times weakness to poison, but only one weakness is still great. Anyway, while going through the Scarlet Devil Mansion, all my puppets except Karen are able to change their style. It also makes Elisa a part electric type and Skylar a part wind type. So now my goal is to talk with Remelia, but before I can reach her, I'm stopped by Sakia, and this fight can be tough. She's the first opponent with a puppet that does not have the normal style anymore. Luckily, Skylar can do great damage thanks to her access to sound and wind attacks, and Sakuya's final puppet is then slowly beaten after a while. And with the end of that fight, Karen is also able to change her style. So now I have a fully evolved team, so to say. Gardenia is now a lot more bulky and can help with spread attacks, Elisa has gotten an increase in speed, Skylar can hit hard with spread attacks, and Karen is bulky and can do damage with focus attacks. So with that, I try to fight Remelia. And lose! Yeah, she got a crit on me in the first turn and I had no real answer for her power Sakuya. So, I don't know, let's try again. And on my next attempt, I don't get crit by her, and with my Skylar survives on 1 HP. So she's able to do some good damage to the Sakuya. But the fight now is Remelia and me switching around, trying to do damage to each other's puppets. And thanks to her switching to her Speed Flandre on a poison attack, I am able to poison the puppet and am able to win after a few more turns. And after the fight, Remelia tells me that my next destination is the Kappa hideout. So yeah, I go there. After moving around for a bit and defeating some members of the Puppet Liberation Front, oh yeah, completely forgot to mention them, they're basically the evil team of this game, I meet Nitori. And she thinks I stole something from her, even though I just arrived here, and wants to battle. Now, this fight isn't particularly difficult, but her defense Hina has what in Pokemon would be Toxic Spikes and Toxic. This does not really make the fight that much harder, but yeah, it can be annoying. And after I win, Nitori gives me a boat and tells me to climb up Yokai Mountain and reach the Tengu village. On my way up the mountain, I meet Raimo again and she wants a rematch. So now this fight can be pretty hard if you're unprepared. Raimo has a power Aya with the ability Salvo, which is basically skilling, and a wind attack that makes use of that ability. In addition, she has a defense Suika and a power Raimo. Those are just strong puppets. However, Skylar is a great counter against the entire team. She has an ability that makes her immune to wind, and all of Raimo's puppets are weak towards wind or sound, and Skylar gets stab on both of these types of moves. So I'm able to get past Raimo without any trouble, and this allows me to continue further up the mountain. And after a while of walking, I arrive at the Tengu village. But before I can enter, I have to fight Aya. She has a power Aya, but Skylar's just a great counter against those, so no real problem. Aya then asks me to find the troublemakers that have appeared in the Tengu village. These troublemakers are the 3 fairies of light, and now they want to battle me. I don't fight them individually, they fight as if they are one trainer. And at first this fight might seem scary, since they do have 6 puppets, but all of them have a lower level than Raimo's or Aya's puppets, and half of them aren't even evolved. Plus, the puppets that are evolved have even a lower base stat total than Candace, though just by 5 points. However, Candace is easily able to win the battle. Even when they are able to land a hit, they only use light attacks, and Candace resists those, so there's no real issue. After the fight, the path to the top of the mountains opens up. And at the top of the mountain, I reach the Moria Shrine, and Sanae immediately wants to battle. I don't even get a chance to heal before the battle. Great. Just like with Raimo, if you don't know this battle is coming. Well, Sanae is kind of annoying here. Her defense Raimo is basically a puppet that has the combo of acupressure and recover. yeah, I have to wait to land a crit to even win the battle. This took a while, but the defense Reimu finally went down, and the rest of the team wasn't really much of an issue. I mean, yeah, Candace went down and Karen almost did too, but other than that, no real issue. Winning this battle gives me a key item that lets me destroy rocks on my path. This allows me access to a new path that leads down Yokai Mountain, and at the foot of the mountain I see Medicine and Yuka talking to members of the Puppet Liberation Front. The best idea now is to just follow them. Well, I was going to, however my path gets blocked by 2 Puppet Liberation Front members. So I go east and help out Chan. She gives me the gap map, which basically gives me access to fly. And now I need to return to Route 1, because the way to the Geyser Control Center is blocked. And on Route 1 there is a rock that I can now destroy to move towards Route 2. There is an entrance to a cave that leads to the former capital of Hell. So I guess I have to use that as a way to the Geyser Control Center. In order to advance, I have to participate in a small tournament. My final opponent there is Mima. Now, I do realize that for one, I'm somewhat overleveled, and two, my team is able to counter a good amount of my opponents, and the same is true here. Mima really cannot do a lot. However, keep in mind her power Mima is only weak to dark. I just happen to have 3 puppets that are able to use attacks of that type. But winning allows me to move on, so let's just do that. And following the path, I arrive at Shiraden. Now, here's one of the more interesting fights of the game, a battle against Satori. And the battle is interesting since she uses an exact copy of my own team, and I believe stats and all, meaning also hold items. And remember me saying my team can counter a lot? Well, this is the case for the team itself. The battle was a really close one and ending in a 1 against 0 in my favor. But it was a really fun battle because I actually had to find out my strengths and weaknesses of my team and play around those. Satori then tells me where I can go next to reach the Geyser Control Center. And for that I have to go through the remains of Blazing Hell. Sounds like a nice place for a vacation. At least Satori thought ahead and sent Orin as a guide. That doesn't stop old Touhou from challenging me, though the strategy here is simple. Set up Field Barrier and Field Protect with Gardenia for support, switch to Candace, and win with water attacks. Her entire team is weak to water, so that works out well. Don't even know if I needed the support moves, but safety first, I guess. But now I am finally able to enter the Geyser Control Center. The Puppet Liberation Front is already here and I have to battle some of the higher members, but Reimu actually helps out and fights against the other higher members. However, I still have to battle against Medicine. Now, she is the leader of these guys, but you might think it will be just as simple as any fight before. Well no, she's actually able to do a good amount of damage. So I start out with Gardenia and she starts with a Power Rumia. That has strong fire attacks. Thanks to the Power Rumia missing a bit, Gardenia is able to set up a Field Barrier and a Field Protect, as well as do some damage, but she goes down shortly after. I then send out Candace to finish off the Power Rumia, and Medicine sends in her Power Medicine. A poison type that Candace is able to damage, but the Power Medicine takes her down. Skylar comes in, and after taking a hit, she takes down the Power Medicine. Medicine then sends out her Power Sunny. This one is able to nearly take down Skylar, but she is able to one-shot the Power Sunny in return, and Medicine's last puppet is a Power Cirno. Yeah, her entire team is just power. That one finishes off Skylar, but I send in Karen, and after she takes a hit, she one-shots the Power Cirno, allowing me to win. Medicine now decides to run away and I have to follow her. Now, if you have not played this game before, it would be difficult to know where to go next. You actually have to go to Route 6. How I found that out the first time I played the game? I don't know. Anyway, I head there to follow Medicine. Route 6 leads to the Zuzuran field, and I find Medicine there. She wants to battle me again, only this time with 5 puppets on her side. I lead with Gardenia in order to set up the barrier and protect, and Medicine leads with a Power Alice. However, she immediately swaps into her Assistina that uses Poison Trap twice and then uses Will-O-Wisp. Gardenia is able to bring the Assistina down after that. Medicine now sends out her speed Moko. I use this time to let Gardenia set up the barrier and protect again. After that, I am able to switch into Candace, who is able to take down the speed Moko. Medicine then brings back her power Alice, and Candace is able to do some damage, but gets taken down. Karen is able to take down the power Alice, but falls in the same turn because of poison damage. I send out Elisa, and Medicine sends out her power Medicine. Elisa is able to do some damage, but gets taken down. Skylar then comes onto the battlefield and is just able to take down the power Medicine and the power Kokoro, giving me the win. Now I can move on to Route 8, and after a cave I arrive at the Garden of the Sun, and here I have to fight against Yuka. Now, Yuka might not seem like a really big problem. She only has 3 puppets, but, well, her power Kurumi has Gorgon's Eye, a move with a 75% chance to give the opponent the stop status. The power Kurumi can also buff its spread attack with an offensive move. Yuka's power Ellie has some coverage on its side, and her power Yuka is strong and bulky. I make this short. I lose 2 times, only being able to take down 1 of her puppets. I will try one more time, but if that does not work, I will grind a bit. Well, the third attempt does not go much better. I try to play a bit more offensively in this one and I still get beaten. So I have to grind, and I grind by mainly fighting some trainers I avoided before. So you might be wondering what my problem here is, and well, my main problem is Yuka's power Ellie. Elisa has a 4 times effective move against her, but the power Ellie somehow outspeeds Elisa, and looking at the base stats, that should not be the case. Maybe it has an item that increases priority or something, but this is a problem. Yeah, here's future me cutting in. I will explain exactly why I got outsped a bit later, but I'm just going to say, if I would have just paid attention, it should not have been the case. It was completely my mistake, but it does not change that I would have lost once or twice anyway. Well, none of my other puppets though are able to one-shot the power Ellie and would just die immediately, and this is all ignoring the power Kurumi that can put the stop condition on my whole team, and the power Yuka that can likely tank a hit or 2 and then just beat whatever is going against it. So I hope this grind is enough, so let's try again. Well, guess what? It didn't work again. So I decide to fight some optional bosses and fight for a bit on the way back to Yuka. I also swap the item Candace holds to increase the power of her water attacks. So I start with Candace and Yuka with her power Kurumi. With nearly 10 levels above, Candace can one-shot the Kurumi. Yuka now sends out her power Yuka, and Candace just does some damage to it. I then set up the field protect with Gardenia and swap to Elisa. Elisa takes down the power Yuka, and the last puppet Yuka uses is her power Ellie. Elisa survives the attack with just 4 HP and finally finishes the power Ellie off. Yeah, I honestly was not expecting this fight to take this long. Yeah, all of Yuka's puppets are strong, but she only has 3, but I'm finally able to move on. Problem is now I legit don't know where I need to go, so I just start walking around the map, trying to look for places I haven't been at yet. Well, it turns out I have to go back to the Murin Temple. It could have been said somewhere, but I mostly skipped through dialogues. And to get the information I need, I have to fight Byakuran. Okay, to be fair, I have to fight 5 of her followers first to be able to fight her, but with the exception of some stupid plays on my side, they really are not that strong. And the same goes for Byakuran. She is not nearly as strong as Yuka. Only her power Nue is kind of annoying by shocking and confusing Karen and taking her down, but that was it. I mean, Yuka was way worse, though to be fair, their puppets have similar levels, so if I fight Byakuran first, she might be just as strong. Anyway, Byakuran tells me about Makai and how to get there. An entrance can be found behind the Shakakure Shrine. I guess that's my next goal then. However, Marissa wants another rematch before I can move on, and after losing once, I finally realize why Elisa is so slow sometimes. She has an attack with really low priority. I don't know how much this would have affected the Yuka battle, but it could have helped, I'm not sure. Anyway, I fight Marissa again, and this time it goes much better. Her speed Marissa does hold the black choker item, which lets her survive a one-shot, so I have to play around that, but other than that, this fight really isn't that much of a problem. So I try to move on, but Raimo stops me now. Luckily for me, Skylar still is a hard counter against her entire team. She can still hit every member of Raimo's team with super effective moves, and so this fight really was no problem either. And winning this battle allows me to move to the Cave of Hakure, and there I am, I guess, supposed to find the way to get to Makai. Before I can truly enter Makai, the gatekeeper Sarah stops me. And her fight is kind of weird. She mostly just switched around, and this allowed me to give her puppets chip damage, and in the end Candace finished her off. So Sarah allows me to move to Genmukai, so I can enter the frozen world, which should lead me to Makai. But before I can truly reach Makai, I am stopped and challenged by the sisters Gengetsu and Mugetsu. Side note, Gengetsu is the older sister of the two, if you want to know. And their team is made up of the puppets that represent the Scarlet Sisters and themselves. Now, these puppets can surely be dangerous, but at this point my team has a high enough level to beat Gengetsu and Mugetsu without much trouble. They are able to beat two of my puppets, but it wasn't really that much of a problem. And after the battle, I am finally able to truly enter Makai. And Makai is an interesting place. You can find some of the strongest puppets here and some really good items and skill cards. However, my destination is to the north, Pandemonium. This is the league of this game, basically. But in this game, it's just 4 battles against the strongest opponents in the game, and honestly, this took a while to finish. Just so you know, I did not save between any of the battles, meaning if I lose at any point, I have to do it all over again. Well, I guess I should now talk about how all of these fights went, or better said, how all of these fights kind of worked. The first opponent is Yuki. Her team consists of a Speed Rin, a Speed Futo, a Speed Clown Piece, a Speed Marissa, and a Speed Yuki. Now, Yuki has 3 puppets that are weak to water, and her team does not have the highest defense. The Speed Futo having the highest single defense stat at 90. However, most of her team hits hard, and the Speed Yuki holds a black choker, making it impossible to one-shot from full health. I even think that every puppet I have to fight at Pandemonium does hold an item, but I'm not sure. The wiki does not really say it, and I don't want to experiment around to find out. Yuki's team is certainly strong, and I even lose to her on my first attempt against her. And I will also not really go into specifics over one battle because of one thing. Yuki and most other opponents in Pandemonium are really inconsistent. The way they behave changes as my puppets rise in level. She doesn't really show a single strategy she pulls through with, mostly just trying to hit hard, and that's really it. The only thing that somewhat stayed consistent was that Yuki Speed Marissa used lightning speed and switched into the Speed Clown Piece if I swap in Karen with full health after the Speed Marissa beats one of my other puppets. Otherwise, there really was not much I could really predict. Yuki mostly just has to be outsped, or my puppet had to be able to tank a hit, otherwise it would be problematic. The opponent after Yuki is Mai, and she is in my eyes the easiest of the 4 battles. Not easy by any means, but she is the most consistent. Mai uses a Speed Sega, a Power Dormy, a Power Iku, an Assist Satori, and a Power Mai. And my strategy to win is to lead with Karen and switch into Skylar at a specific point. It took me a while to notice the pattern, but this is basically what I found out. When I lead with Karen, the Speed Sega loves to use Channeling, which does damage to the opponent and then switches the user out. And Mai would then nearly every time send out her Power Iku to set up a field barrier and then either use Lightning Speed or hard switch into the Assist Satori. Now, there is a potential obviously that it doesn't go exactly like this, but it happened to me most of the time. And because I finally noticed that on my last attempt, I was able to hard switch to Skylar when I predicted Mai to switch to the Assist Satori. And this causes the Assist Satori to really not be able to do much of anything anymore. It can only counter damage, use the last move used before, or lock me into one specific move. This really doesn't stop me from doing much of anything, And because of this, Skylar is at this point able to harshly increase her spread attack with Brave Song and then pretty much sweep through the rest of the team. Now this does sound easy, but it will only work if my AI decides to act as I described. If it does something different, probably not ends well for you, because her team is quite diverse and does have a good amount of setup, and well, the assist surgery can definitely be dangerous considering he can do counter damage, and that really is annoying if it doesn't go as I described. And I had some runs and because the assist surgery just countered me to no end. So yeah, keep that in mind. The penultimate opponent is Yumiko, and while my first attempt against her did go in my favor, every following attempt was way more problematic, and this is because Yumiko is also not consistent in the way she fights. Her team is made up of a power Miko, a power Sagume, a defense Kokoro, a power Sakuya, and a speed Yumiko. This team is quite strong. The power Miko is one of the strongest puppets in the game. It does have an ability that weakens it if it has 58% HP or less, but it might still just attack first and do a good amount of damage. The power Sagume is really fast and can do a lot of damage, and is also a great counter against Candace, my strongest puppet. The defense Kokoro is bulky, it can heal itself, increase its defense, and has Moody as an ability to harshly increase a stat and lower another. So yeah, it just takes a lot of hits. But the biggest problem for me are the power Sakuya and the speed Yumiko, two steel type puppets, and most of my team is weak against steel, and in addition to that, the speed Yumiko has Salvo as its ability and a multi-hit steel attack. So honestly, this battle is more or less just luck if I cannot one-shot Yumiko's puppet, and this is also why I lost a good amount of attempts against her. So again, not an easy opponent, and you should definitely keep that Salvo Yumiko in mind. And then there's the final opponent, Shinki. She uses 6 puppets, a speed Junko, a speed Hijiri, a power Yumiko, a power Mima, a power Serial, and a power Shinki. Her puppets are some of the strongest in the game. All styles of the Shinki puppet are really strong. They have the highest base stat total without an ability that causes a problem, like losing a few stat points or only being able to attack every other turn. So yeah, this is already quite a difficult team to deal with, and I attempted this fight multiple times and still get overwhelmed. But after a lot of leveling up and some rethinking, I think I can finally do this. So I start the battle with Gardenia. She cannot hit the speed Junko for super effective damage, but she can recover herself. And the speed Junko only seems to use spread attacks, and that helps because this is Gardenia's higher defensive stat. Still, I set up a field protect just to be on the safe side and bring the Junko down. Shinki then sends in her power Shinki. It beats Gardenia and I send in Skylar to fight it. Skylar is able to hit the Shinki for super effective damage, but the battle is quite close. She does win eventually, but Shinki then sends in her power Yumiko, which takes down Skylar, and I send in Elisa. She can take down the power Yumiko with a quad effective fighting type attack, and Shinki then sends out her speed Hijiri. I predict that the Hijiri will go for an attack that Candace can resist and swap her in. The predicted attack comes out and Candace nearly takes down the speed Hijiri, which only hangs on thanks to the black choker, and in the next round Candace finishes off the Hijiri. Thanks to Candace's ability, her speed advantage and high attack, she is then able to finish off the remaining 2 puppets without much more trouble, winning me the battle and the challenge. And yes, this kind of sounds easy now, but a lot of the attempts can go south pretty fast. She does also have a puppet that only has one weakness, and yeah, all of them do quite a bit amount of damage. It really took me a while to think of a good strategy, and because I had to go through the entirety of Pandemonium every time, it really wasn't as easy as it might seem now in the end. But anyway, I actually did it. Honestly, this was a really fun way to play through the game. It was not as hard as I originally expected, but there were still some tough fights along the way. And I know there is a good amount of post-game, but I will end it here. But who knows, I might do something like this again with a different theme team. Anyway, this is the end of the video. I hope you had fun watching me play through the game in this way. So thanks for watching and have a nice Cirno day.